Okay, so let's talk about memory. Memory is also known as primary storage. Okay, memory is temporary storage that's used to hold instructions and data. There are two different types of computer memory. There's RAM, which is random access memory. And then there is cache memory, okay, right here. Cache memory is very fast memory that is in close proximity to the processor, and it's used to store frequently accessed information. Okay. RAM is volatile memory, and what we mean by volatile is that when you turn off your computer, anything that was stored in the RAM is wiped clean from there. It's not going to be still there when you turn on your computer later. Okay, that's why we call it temporary storage, because RAM holds things that you may be currently working on, and then once you're done with that, you shut down your computer, you power it off, everything is gone from the RAM. Nothing stays in there. That's what we mean when we say volatile. Okay, the RAM can hold the operating system, that's OS again, programs, and data that's in use. Okay. There are 3 different levels of cache memory. Okay. Level 1 is actually built into the processor. So it's a tiny amount of memory that's built into the processor, so the processor can actually hold something in its own memory, okay, which is its level 1 cache memory. Level 2, if you have a newer system, this is also built into the processor, and it's a little bit difficult to explain, again, without drawing you a picture, but it's sort of, imagine level 1 being like in the middle of the processor, and then level 2 is sort of on the outside of level 1. So it's still very close. I mean, it's still on the processor, but it's not as close as the level 1 cache memory. Okay, if you have an older system, then level 2 cache memory is going to be on the motherboard. So very near the processor, but not actually built into the processor. Okay, and then level 3 is usually a separate chip on the motherboard near the processor. So it's the farthest level away from the CPU, level 3. But it also holds more information or data than the level 1 or level 2 cache memory. Okay? So, RAM. Random access memory. This is the place in a computer where the programs and data the computer is currently using are stored. RAM is much faster to read from and write to than the hard drive and other forms of storage. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, memory. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. I have to throw in some nerd humor, okay? Keeps us going, doesn't it? So maybe you're asking, what does read from and write to mean? Okay, so when you have something in memory, if you ask your computer to access something that's in the memory, you're reading from that place in the memory. Okay, if you ask your computer to save something, that means you're actually writing to that memory, whether you're using a hard drive or another form of storage. So that's what we're referring to when we talk about reading from and writing to. Okay. And because the entire contents of the RAM are erased when you turn off the computer, RAM is the temporary or volatile storage location. Okay, so let's talk about ROM. ROM stands for read-only memory. This holds all the instructions your computer needs to start up once you press that power button. You power on your computer doesn't know what to do. It needs something to tell it, okay, these are the steps we're going to take in order to, get to that login screen. The ROM holds those instructions. Okay, the instructions stored in the ROM are permanent. So this makes ROM a non-volatile storage location because that stuff stays there even when you power off your machine. All right, so make sure you know the difference between ROM and RAM. They are not the same thing. I know only one letter separates their acronyms, but they're definitely not the same thing. Okay, so let's look at different storage devices. All right, there's 3 different categories of storage devices, at least that we're going to discuss today. We have optical storage, and optical disk storage pertains to CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray discs, okay? Data is stored using a laser, and data is also read with an optical disk drive. So this is where you put the disk in on your computer. That's your optical disk drive. Okay, we have solid state storage, and this is non-mechanical. So what I mean by that, there's no moving parts. Okay, data is stored using flash memory on a chip if you're using a solid state storage device. So you'll hear of solid state drives. Okay, no moving parts, no heat, or a very minimal amount of heat. A pretty great way to store stuff. Okay, they're quiet, they're durable. So hard drives. This is the magnetic storage category. Okay, hard drives actually store data magnetically on metal or specially coated materials. So here you could see here's a disk. Okay, there's your laser writing data to that disk. Here is like a solid state storage, so a flash drive. Okay, no moving parts in there. It has a little chip. That's where it stores all your information that you save to that. And then here's your hard drive. So kind of looks like a record player, and we'll look at this a little bit more in depth. But this is one of the platters. Usually have more than one platter, and it stores data magnetically. Pretty cool. Okay, so the hard disk drive, HDD, or usually you'll hear it called just hard drive, is your computer's primary device for permanent storage of software and documents. So this is going to be located inside your computer in the system unit. Okay, hard drive is a non-volatile storage device. So as I've just discussed with you, that means anything you save to the hard drive will still be there when you turn on your computer again the next day. Okay, this is where your pictures are stored. This is where your music is, where your papers that you write. All that stuff, when you save it, it gets saved here onto the hard drive. Okay, this internal hard drive resides within the system unit and usually holds all permanently stored programs and data. Okay. External hard drives, these offer similar storage capacities, but they reside outside the system unit and connect via a USB port. Okay. Again, the most common type of hard drive has movable parts, so these spinning platters, a moving arm with a read-write head, those can fail and lead to disk failure. So that's why they came up with the solid-state drives, SSD for short. Okay. Again, no moving parts, no noise, emit very little heat, require little power, okay, and so they're less likely to fail. So our permanent storage devices, the hard drive, are located inside your computer in a space called a drive bay, and there's 2 different kinds of drive bays. Internal drive bays can't be seen or accessed from outside the system unit. But external drive bays can be seen and accessed from outside the system unit. Laptop computers generally don't give you the ability to add additional drives, just due to space, like how compact they are. You just don't have the space to do that. Okay, so expansion is done by attaching an external drive through a USB port. So let me just get to that. Skip to this one real quick and show you. For your large portable storage needs, there are these portable external hard drives, which are small enough to fit in your pocket and have storage capacities of usually around like 4 terabytes, if not larger now. And you can get them for pretty cheap, especially if you don't need like a super huge one. You could probably get a 2 terabyte hard drive for maybe like $50 now. Okay, so it's definitely worth it. I highly recommend that you have one of these. They're enclosed in a protective case, and yes, inside they have those moving parts again, just like the internal hard drive does. Okay, and they can attach to your computer via this USB port right there. Okay. Another type of storage is cloud storage. Of course, you hear about the cloud all the time. When we hear about cloud storage, we're referring to using a service that keeps your files on the internet. So, no, it's not a pretty fluffy cloud. It's just the internet, okay? And you keep your stuff there rather than on a local device. Dropbox, for example, that's a web-based application for storing files in the cloud. Any files saved in Dropbox folder are accessible to all other devices via the internet. So, you could save stuff to Dropbox via your laptop. You can download the Dropbox app on your phone, access it via your phone or your tablet. Okay. You could share with other Dropbox users, things like that. Other cloud storage alternatives include Microsoft's OneDrive, Apple iCloud, and Google Drive. Okay, so we'll skip that. We already went over it. Flash storage. A flash drive, which sometimes is referred to as a jump drive, USB drive, or a thumb drive, uses solid-state flash memory. So all the information is stored on an internal memory chip. Okay. When you plug a flash drive into your computer's USB port, it appears in your operating system as another disk drive. Okay. And then you can write or read data to it or from it just as you would a hard drive. Same thing. Okay. Flash drives can have significant storage capacity. Last I checked, it was around 256 gigs. All right, so I got into grad school in computer science like 7 years ago. And just then, the fact that there was like a 1 gig, 2 gig, or 4 gig flash drive was this amazing thing. And they're, crazy expensive. But now they've gotten a lot cheaper, and as always, the storage capacity has gone up. Okay. There's also wireless flash drives, and these make transferring files to your portable devices a lot easier. They look just like normal flash drives, but they can connect to your portable devices via Wi-Fi once you've installed the appropriate app. Up to 8 devices can be connected to those wireless flash drives at once, and the drive can even stream media to 3 devices simultaneously. Flash memory card, something like an SD card, is another convenient means of portable storage. So just like your flash drives, the memory cards use solid-state flash memory. Okay. These are what you're going to see inside your phones, some of your phones, inside your cameras, things like that. They let you transfer digital data between your computer and devices like your cameras, smartphones, video cameras, and printers. All right.